Hello friends, welcome to part 3 of the training on the IBM System I configuration management tool, Aldon. We have covered the setup and administration part of Aldon, and in this part we will we'll work with the configuration management part of Aldon, and I'll be covering working with tasks, working with objects by release, creation of objects, changing object descriptions, using the object dependency data and the development log. Work with tasks. What is a task? A task is an identified group of objects selected from one release of an application for modification. You can group objects associated with a given change together as a task to make managing development easier. You can use option 5 from the Aldon main menu to work with tasks. Let's have a look. Option 5, work with tasks. So I can see two tasks defined to my application and the corresponding release demo fix. You can take option F6 here to create a new task. And if I take F11 here, it shows me another view where it shows the status of the task. Let's say this task is open. You can take option 9 to close the task before distributing your fix or changes to other environments, other locations. Working with objects by release. Work with objects by release panel is used to request and perform checkouts and promotions, add and delete release objects, and display information about release objects. You can also change the create options for an object or create an object in place in an environment. So if we go back to the Aldon main menu, take option 1, work with objects by release. This panel displays a list of objects by release and allows you to select specific objects to work with. Each object is listed only once for a release. You can take F17 here to subset the list of objects displayed by environment, developer, the task, condition, object name, object type, object attribute, and the release application and group values. Adding an object. You can take an F6 on the work with objects by release screen to add a new object to the release. Once you have added the object, it is eligible for promotion from the development environment. Aldon uses the information you enter on the adding an object panel to create database entries for the new object. The object need not exist at the time it is being added. Let's take a look. I'm at the work with objects by release panel. If I take option F6, I'll be able to add a new object. Let's create a new one. Demo CL5, object is type is .pgm, CLP, extended attribute is OPM. Now it's a source based object. I'll give the source file as qclsrc. The task will be the same as demo dvp1, and I'll say add. It says that object and source not found. Press enter to accept. Press enter again. It asks me for the library group for object, so I select 02. Now it asks me for library group for source, so I take 01, and it says object demo cl5 type star pgm added. See, here it is. Creation objects. With selection of the appropriate promote option, Aldon automatically creates objects on promotion into a new environment. You may also create objects as needed using option 14 on the work with objects by release, work with developer objects, act upon dependent objects, or work with task panels. In development, create objects. You can create objects to recompile change source. And outside of development, object creation is chiefly required to prevent level checks when related objects are promoted forward, and to protect production copies of files from changes during testing in integration or quality assurance by creating non-resident objects into an environment. So you can take option 14 here to create this particular object. Aldon automatically selects the correct IBM or user defined create command and options for each object based on the object type and attribute and Aldon database entry. You can change the command using option 15. So if I take option 15 here, it will ask me for the create command, so I can give create clpgm and I can specify any specific parameters if I want to give using option F10. Changing the object descriptions. Object descriptions can only be changed for objects in the development environment. You can use option 16 to change the description. If I give 16 option here, and the following can be changed: object attribute. If I take 4, these are the so many types of attributes which I can change to. Then the extended attribute, it can be either BND or ILE or OPM. And the data object. Here you can change the object's data status. An object's data status determines whether or not to preserve data when updating a previous copy of the object in a data library by copying or converting data from any previous version to the new version. The source option. You can specify 1 for source, which will indicate that the object is based on standard source code such as RPG or COBOL. Option 2 for pseudocode indicates the object is based on a CL member containing commands which create the object when executed. Option 9 for no source indicates that no source is provided for the object. Using object dependency data. You can use options 41 or 42 to display a list of objects dependent on reference objects selected with and act upon those dependent objects in the list using available options. For example, if I take this module, I take 41, it will show me there is one object dependent on this. And this panel displays object dependencies which have been established by Aldon automatic scan function, access through the panel interface, and dependencies established manually by the user with option 40 or using object dependency commands. This is a very handy tool. It enables you to find out what all objects are affected by changing a reference object and which of them need to be changed as well. Using the development log. You can use the display development log panel to display log entries for development actions in all releases. When displayed from the Aldon main menu, option 7, we'll go to the main menu. Display log, you can delete log entries by pressing F13. So if I take my cursor to any particular entry and press F13 here, I can delete that particular log entry. However, if you display the log from using option 30 on the work with objects by release panel, if I take option 30 here, the panel displays log records for one selected object at a time and the delete function is not available here. There are 4 different views available showing different information. You can press either F10 or F11 to move between them. See, these are the different views. To view all information for a logged action at one time, using the development log detail panel, select a record with option 5, display detail, and press enter. So I'll get the complete details here. Well, to summarize, we have covered the following in this part of the training: working with tasks, working with objects by release, adding an object, creating new objects, changing the object descriptions using object dependency data and using the development log. Well, thank you folks. This brings us to the end of part 3. If you have any queries, you may contact me through email or same time using my email ID mentioned here. Thank you.